to take a second look at Psalm 23, verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Message translation says, I don't need a thing. This psalm doesn't speak to the self-sufficient, but to those who are very aware of their need for a provider. On Sunday, Nick taught us that our shepherd knows us, guides us, shields us, and feeds us. I want to take a look at someone else who experienced all of these truths firsthand, especially that last one, the shepherd feeds us. What is it like to be fed by God? So the story of Elijah is that he was a prophet of God. He had said some things to a king in that area that didn't really go down very well. So God created a plan to send him to a place to hide out for a little bit. So he sent him to a brook named Cherith. And in that brook, Elijah would find his water supply. And for food, God was going to send him food through ravens every day. So that carried on for a little bit, but then the brook dried up and he didn't really have that provision anymore. So God sent him to a city several days away. And he said, once you get there, I'm going to provide for you through a widow. So widows in that time typically didn't have a whole lot, but Elijah obeyed anyway. And once he got to that city, he found the widow and he asked her, could I have some drink? Could I have some food? And the widow said, you know what? I don't have very much. I have a little bit of flour and a little bit of oil, but that's it. I could barely feed me and my son. So Elijah said, go ahead and make me some bread and then make yourself some bread. And if you do, your supply will not run out. So she did that, and sure enough, her oil and her flour were able to feed them, all three of them, for several days. In this story, there were several brooks God could have sent Elijah to. Cherith means to cut off or to separate. God wanted Elijah to not only hide for safety, but to have uninterrupted alone time with God. Sometimes, God will intentionally cut us off from hurry, from what we're used to, for us to be led by Him in faith. In moments where we find ourselves hidden away, whether physically or spiritually, let's give room for God to speak to us and strengthen us in that rest. Elijah's journey of faith brought him into a direct intersection with a family in need. Our obedience and reliance on God's word doesn't just affect us, but other people too. That widow wasn't a believer, but she had enough faith to see what God could do for her. All she had was a little flour and a little oil, but God was able to feed her and keep her and her son alive, and also take care of Elijah. In this time, will our trust in God's guidance, provision, and goodness point others to the truth of who God is? This week, take one day at a time to rest in where you are today and encourage yourself with truth. The Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need.